Hi, I'm Jinny Beyer. I love working with diamonds. I've been working with them ever since I began quilt making, and I also love quilts with optical illusion effects. This one is a perfect example. It's a great design. You turn it upside down, you see an entirely different design, but no matter what, that's a lot of diamonds to cut. Now, while I do like to work with templates and my tailor's chalk and scissors, when I'm cutting this many diamonds, and it's going to be a scrap quilt with lots and lots of different fabrics, I like to use the rotary cutter, and I couldn't find the exact ruler that I liked, so I decided to design my own. And today I'm going to demo to you my 60-degree perfect cut ruler. So this is my ruler. You can cut up to 6-inch diamonds with it, or equilateral triangles, and it's might seem just a little bit bright to you, this neon color, but we experimented with a lot of different plastics to find the one that would show up on any fabrics. So if you look here, I'll show you. Rulers with black lines and clear plastic did not show up on black, and here you get a nice clear view. Light colored fabrics, such as this, you can still see the lines very clearly. So what about something that's green and yellow? You still see it. So we experimented with any colors of fabric, and it just seems to show up on anything you cut. Let me explain some of the features of the ruler, why I did it this way. It's a perfect travel ruler because it's small enough that it fits into your bag, but it's still long enough that you can cut full-length strips of fabric with it. It's meant to be used with strips of fabric, so you can cut your strips anywhere up to 6 inches at 1/4 inch increments. There's numbers along the top and bottom giving the inch segments, also down the side. The lines run all the way through so you can cut your strips. Another feature is, and you'll see as I'm cutting the diamonds, this is cut across the edge, so when you put the diamonds together, you'll be able to line them up perfectly. There's also a dot, both at the 60-degree angle and also at the 120-degree angle. That's a little hole where you can take your mechanical pencil and mark the intersection, so if you have any set-in seams, you can get the perfect positioning for that. Now let's see how the ruler works. First of all, I like to use this Olfa spinny mat, and you'll see why I like to be able to turn it around, and it's also a good travel size if you're going to classes. I'm going to start, this is a 1/4 yard of fabric. I fold it. As long as you folded the 1/4 yard twice, you can use this ruler. It fits just perfectly. And the first job we have to do is to straighten the edge. And if you've got a nice sharp blade on your cutter, you'll be able to cut through all 4 thicknesses of this twice folded 1/4 yard of fabric. So once we've cut and straightened the edge, I like to just turn the mat around. Now I'll find my 2.5 inch mark to get my 2.5 inch strips, and then I will cut my strip. The thing I like about this ruler is you don't need to have 2 rulers. You don't need one for the strips and one for the diamonds, because this ruler will do them both. I've got my 2.5 inch strip. So now I'm going to take one of the lines on the ruler and line it up with the bottom of the strip, like this. And there's my 60-degree angle. And I'm just going to cut that angle. Now that I've got this angle cut, you'll see why I like this spinning mat. You just turn that around. We're going to cut the diamonds the same width as our strips. So we find the 2.5 inch mark on the ruler again, and I can line that 2.5 inch line right along that cut edge of the diamond, and I just cut another diamond. I can move that aside, and I can line it up again, the 2.5 inches. Make sure this line from the bottom fits right along the strip, and then just cut another. Now while you've still got the rotary cutter out, you can snip off these ends. You see that little mark right there? That's this cutoff part. You just cut off both ends. Now, the importance of being able to cut off those ends like that is, if I were going to sew these two diamonds together in a row like this, I can line them up and just the cut edges come right together. You know, when you're sewing diamonds in a row, if you haven't cut the ends, let me show you. If you haven't cut the ends, you're trying to figure out, okay, I need a little bit of overhang on this side and a little bit of overhang on this side. I got to make sure I get them lined up properly so they'll be in nice straight rows. And that takes extra time. And this way, by cutting off that tip, you just line up the cut edges and you're all set. This is the block in this quilt. And when you're sewing inset seams like this one, like this, it's important to have that little Y seam, and that's when you need to mark dots. Sewing straight lines like these, you don't necessarily need to, but as soon as you're going to have this inset seam, you need to have that little Y intersection, so it's important to mark the dot. So I'm going to show you how you do that with this ruler. Here we've got a cut diamond, and the little ends have already been snipped off, but if I'm going to have an inset seam, I need to know where to do that. So I just line this up here with the ruler, and I'll take a mechanical chalk pencil and I'll just mark a dot through that hole. On that fabric, it's a little hard for you to see, but there's the dot right there. And I can do the same thing at this intersection because I've got that little dot in the ruler at the 120-degree angle as well. And there you can see that dot. That way you start and stop your stitching at the dots. This ruler will also cut equilateral triangles. So let's cut another 2.5 inch strip, and I'll show you how you go about cutting those triangles. Once again, you want to cut that first 60-degree angle, line up one of the lines from the ruler along the bottom of the strip, and just cut that 60-degree angle. This time we turn the ruler again to the other side, but now we have to also flip the strip upside down. Now we're going to line a line from the ruler right along the bottom of the strip and then move the ruler over until we hit that cut line up there. And you get it right exactly at that cut. And you get your perfect equilateral triangle. This shape is as versatile as the diamonds. It's used in 1,000 pyramid quilts and a lot of other applications. And once again, you can make your strip, your triangles, as wide as the 6 inches per side. So I hope you've enjoyed this demo on how to use my ruler. You can look for it at your local quilt shop, and if you can't find it there, you can come to our website, jinnybeyer.com. We also have on that website videos that will help you with the diamonds, showing you how to both machine and hand piece the inset seams.